Hiya, I'm Nina and today's 10-minute taster is on yoga for the wrists. So whether using your phone, typing on a computer or using your hands to perform daily tasks or work projects, it's always worth taking care of your wrists. We need flexibility in our wrists to maintain a range of motion. Stretching our wrists can also help prevent injury or rehabilitate pre-existing conditions. Here are 10 minutes of wrist stretches that could really benefit not just your yoga practice, but other aspects of your life as well. So firstly, before we start the actual stretches, I wanted to offer something, just a piece of information. In yoga, we are asked to place a lot of weight through our wrists when performing particular stretches or poses, asanas. And I wanted to offer you an alternative to placing weight through your wrists this way. So I'll show you what that looks like, what those alternatives look like. So when in a tabletop position or maybe a downward dog or other yoga postures, you're asked to place your palms on the floor and spread the fingers out. I wanted to just say that it's okay not to feel comfortable in this position, or it's okay to need an alternative because you don't feel comfortable in this position. And one of the first alternatives are placing the weight up on the fingertips. That can be uncomfortable for some as it puts a lot of pressure through the fingertips, but it can feel better or nicer / more comfortable if you have a wrist injury or some wrist pain. It spreads out the surface area and the distribution of the weight a little bit further. Now the other, and gives the support of all 10 fingers. The other alternative is making a fist. So if you were to take all the fingers into the center of the palm and wrap your thumb around it, and then place the fist down into the floor, both sides, you have the support of all 10 fingers again underneath that wrist. So the weight isn't being put directly through the wrist and into the floor. It's a little bit of a cushion. It's like putting 2 cushions underneath your wrist there. So yeah, so that's what I wanted to do to begin with, is just offer those alternatives if you feel like you need those. Coming back to a seated position, you might want to sit on a pillow, you might not. I do, I like it. We are going to start off with a simple wrist exercise, which I like. I start most of my classes off with this exercise. It's just quite simply lifting the wrists up or lifting the arms up and taking some wrist circles. So to begin with, I just circle the wrists out. And I think the trick to these postures, or not even a trick, the way to make these postures work for you is by choosing how quickly you want to go or how slowly you want to go, but also choosing the length of time that you choose to take these stretches. It's important to take your focus to the part of the body that's stretching and become aware of what it feels like there. So change direction for me, remembering to go, if you go one way with any pose, you go the other as well. Try to match the speed in direction when you change direction. And you'll often hear clicks coming out of the wrists. That's normal as long as there's no pain. If there's pain, either stop the pose or slow it down. Don't know if you can hear that click that's coming from my left wrist. Sometimes pops and clicks are releasing. Okay, so that's our first one. So the second one that I like to do is this one. We take the palms together. Doesn't necessarily have to be at heart center, just palms together, and we interlace the fingers. That's interlacing the fingers. We squeeze the heel of the palm together, and then we start to take circles one way. So the whole time I want you to bring the wrists as close together as you can. So that might mean your forearms are together. So rather than like this and doing this, I want you to keep sort of like the elbows are traveling towards one another. You'll hear some funny noises coming from there. Again, go as slow as you want to go. And stay in one direction before we move to another. Okay, change direction. Feels a little bit weird. A couple more clicks coming from there as well. And you might feel like your wrists are getting a little bit warmer now. It's just absolutely the intention. Okay. Hold the hands out in front for me. We're going to spread the fingertips as wide as we can whilst pushing the wrists forwards. Then we're going to squeeze the fingers in, making fists both sides, and we're going to point the fists down. Then open again. We're going to do this 5 times, squeezing out. This is the second time. Stretching out, sorry. And then squeezing in. Number 3, open up. Squeezing in. Number 4, open up. Squeezing in. Open up. This is the last time. Spread those fingers out wide and then squeeze the fingertips in. Point the fist down towards the floor. Very good. And release. At any point in your practice, in your yoga practice or wherever you are, if you want to move the wrists around with some free movement in order to get the blood flowing back to where you feel it should be, then go for it. Whatever feels comfortable is okay. The next one we're going to do is, okay, so this is a practice that takes a little bit of finessing, but actually works really nicely on the outsides of the wrists. So we take both hands out to the side, arms wide. 2 types of fist clenching here. We're going to initially bring the fingers in towards the palm and wrap the thumb around. With arms lifted still, shoulders down, room between the ears and the neck, we're going to drop the wrists down towards the floor. And you can see in my shadow there, it makes it a little bit clearer, that the fists stay pointed towards the sort of the front of the mat, or wherever it is that you're sitting, they point outwards, whilst the wrists come down. So we're stretching the insides of both wrists. Keep those up for 3, for 2, and 1. Pick them back up again. Open the palms wide, tuck the thumbs in, wrap the fingertips around the thumbs, and we're doing the same thing. Drop those wrists down, and I can feel this pose a hell of a lot more than the last one. That feels super intense on the insides of my wrists. If it's too much for you, just lessen the dip. For 3, for 2, and 1. Lift the thumbs back up, lift the wrists back up, open wide, stretch wide, bring the hands back into center. Maybe take some wrist circles, that might feel quite nice there. Okay, we're going to take something that I call a seated cat-cow, but just with a little bit of an alternative twist on it. So we're going to interlace the fingers again this time, and we're going to send the palms out. So we've now got a stretch on the insides of the wrists here. We're going to inhale to lift the hands above the head. So draw the tummy button in, inhale, come up. And on the exhale, we're going to curl the spine over. Pushing the hands down, tucking the chin under. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. We're doing 5 of these. Exhale down. Squeeze the abdominals in. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Really curling the spine, tuck the chin all the way under, and then release. Oh, so that's nice. That's some nice spine mobility practice there as well, as stretching the wrists open. The last one I want to do with you is a quick one, and you can do this in your own time. You can take a long amount of time in this position as you want to. Is just placing the hands at the heart center, squeezing the heels of the palms together in your Anjali Mudra, dropping those shoulders down and squeezing the fingertips in towards each other, squeezing the palms towards each other. And that's a little bit more gentle and a little bit more controlled. Dropping those shoulders, dropping the elbows as far as you can. And you can stay here for as long as you want to. In fact, I quite suggest maybe taking some meditation in this pose. It can feel quite contemplative. Anyway, that's our 10-minute wrist stretching video. And yeah, see you on the next one. I hope that helps.